This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's a Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Amanda.
And Nadine.
And tonight we watched Murder Among the Mormons.
Not the name of the church.
I'm so tired.
Me too. It's gonna be a real struggle. What time is it?
Too late. It's 3:15. Kill me.
Witching hour.
Meh. Nadine, you want to give us a summary of what it was all about?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I'm the only one here to do it.
Sound less enthusiastic next time, please.
I mean, I could lie if you want. Oh my gosh, Amanda, thank you so much for asking me. So essentially, this just takes us through a true crime story that is very prevalent in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which deals with Mark Hofmann, who is this murderer. Spoiler alert. He was a terrible forger and forged several documents trying to shake the faith of members of the church and ultimately killed people in an attempt to cover up what he had done and not end up filing for bankruptcy and such.
Yeah, good on you for remembering his name, because I've already forgotten it.
It was a struggle. There was probably an entire sentence that I said while I was trying to remember it.
There were many names in this, and it was hard for me to keep track for a minute there.
There were many names.
Yeah, I mean, if this were Book of Mormon times, he's like a legit Book of Mormon Antichrist.
Yes. This were Book of Mormon times. Tiankum would have come up behind him, and this would all be over.
He would have gotten tied up and taken outside the city and trampled.
If it were Bible times, he's the type of guy who you ask for his head on a silver charger.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you, when we're tired, we're making, deep cut religion.
That's how we do that's what you do when you're a genius.
Little did you guys know, we're religious. Surprise!
So, I don't know, how did we feel about it?
We were already tired. It's hard to take out the environmental factors of
It very much is.
being
so late at night, watching all 3 episodes back to back.
after we just watched a movie that we've already seen before.
Mm-hmm. But also, it doesn't help that everyone involved, they're all part of the same, vanilla pudding.
Yes.
Everyone is just, such a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
Man. There was not a single cool person in this documentary.
Maybe you missed his butterfly knife? I think you did. He was swinging that thing around with his case full of documents.
Oh, man. And the Uzi. Don't forget the Uzi.
Uzi?
He got arrested. The gun? That's what it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay.
I think.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know the nicknames of guns.
He had a gun, and it was I think it might have been illegal in the state or city or something.
It was undocumented.
Something was up with the gun. It was bad news, and he and Mark went out to shoot it, and they were feeling so bad.
and then he had that book in his house.
Yeah.
Anarchist cookbook.
Yeah. What? Oh my gosh. The man could not lie to save his life. Well, his birth name was Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon, Lynn or something.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Flynn. Shannon
okay.
Flynn.
It was the most Irishy Irish name that ever did Irish out of Ireland. And the guy sort of had a little bit of a leprechaun look about him.
If he only could be more Irish if he was Shannon O'Flynn or something stupid.
He probably dropped the O, trying to blend in.
Mm-hmm. Trying to look natural. Just like everybody else. Man.
We say the dumbest.
He was a butterball turkey of a human being. Trying to be so cool with his butterfly knife. His gun.
I was sad towards the end, though, when I noticed that he didn't have any wedding ring on, though. I was like, oh, you poor little fella. Dying a bachelor.
This probably has to do with him not being able to lie and trying to be so cool.
You gotta lie to land a woman.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He couldn't even omit the truth. They asked him if he'd read the Alchemist cookbook, and he was just like, yeah, I read it.
Well, no, they didn't even ask him if he had read it. They just said, what do you know about this book that was in your house? And he was like, well, I read it. But also, I totally get that, because it's what are you supposed to say?
Did I just say the Alchemist cookbook?
You did.
I meant the Anarchist cookbook.
I mean, same. It's
Like,
not, though.
It's not.
They're not the same.
No.
Oh, The Alchemist. No, that's a good book.
Man. What a cast of characters. I mean,
Yeah. Lots of names, though. It's like,
some-
how many white men's names am I supposed to learn in this 3 hours?
Am I supposed to remember and be able to differentiate them one from another?
No. Same. It's the same.
No.
From one vanilla boy to the next. I cannot.
They literally all looked the same. They all had like a double chin. They all had the same haircut. Like I could not differentiate them.
Oh, man. Man, I would just love for one person listening to this to get the tea income job. That would make me really happy. It'll be Danny. I think that also it's like we were more interested and sort of excited about watching it when it first came out, and then we waited quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of that excitement wore off. Yeah, I felt fine-ish about it.
Felt long. Like there was a lot that bloated the runtime of that. Especially like, was that just the commercial? No, they used the same quote in the beginning that they did in the end.
And that was just like bookending it.
Yeah,
that it,
but
like that's how they introed it.
Lazy bookending.
I guess. I did not mind that bookending it, but I definitely could have slashed this down and gotten at least 20 minutes off the runtime, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those reenactments were just Netflix making it rain with money for no reason.
The driving around in
The stunt driver that they clearly hired to drive his stupid blue car.
the ugly blue quote-unquote sports car. It was
Embarrassing.
an embarrassment of an 80s sports car. It was more like a compact. Man, but I really do wish that he had actually blown himself up on accident. That would have been very funny to me.
I'm still not totally convinced that that's not what happened.
Yeah, he also apparently he claims he was attempting suicide at one point, Mark, because he blows himself up and it makes him look like a victim, and he survives. But man, I wish so badly that it had just been a total accident. Like that bomb was meant for someone else, and he just was not good at one thing.
Again, I kind of think it probably was, because a very half-hearted suicide attempt, like, all he came away with was, like, a little bit of a mauled hand. He was essentially fine.
I mean, he was in critical condition for a while.
Yeah, but, like, his face is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he lived long enough to inherit his dad's crazy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
The hereditary, those crazy eyes. Come
Look
down on the
out.
father's side.
You'd
You'd think it was the mother's side. That's sexist.
Mm-hmm. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Mhm.
Man.
I mean, did you feel like there's any bias in the documentary?
There were some things, definitely, that, like, I picked up on. For sure, videos that they were using from the church were, like, the oldest videos that they could
Oh
be
my
using.
gosh. Make the church look so crazy with those.
I know. And then also, when they talked about his father coming over and seeing the children's book and it being dinosaurs, and, like, they made it seem like as if the church doesn't support the theory of evolution. That's not factual. So little things like that, I was like, mm-mm. And also, they said that the church was planning on buying that from him, but that's not true. Like, the church didn't buy the salamander letter from him. Christensen bought it and then just donated it to the church, which then the church made it public. So they weren't hiding anything. And then when he tried to, like, peddle them that, they were like, pass. Just like before, we're not interested in your documents, bro.
Yeah, I do feel like, especially in that first episode, they, like, sensationalize a lot of stuff to make it, like, to pull you in. So you're like, well, I really need to see where this is going now.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, overall, they did, like, clear most things up. Like, they, like, mentioned that the letter wasn't bought by the church. It was donated by someone else and then published. And then they put out a statement like, I mean, we're not going to discount the science, and science says it's true, so, like, we guess. But, like, also, maybe not.
Yeah, I did think it was very nice that they included that. Green being, like the cutest little cutie pie.
Could have gone a lot worse, especially when you got so many nerds involved in it and making the church look like it's just full of nerds. Sort of
not
is.
a lie. We want your accurate bias over here.
But I mean, out of like some documentaries I've seen that are like, there's one Netflix documentary that is like so clearly biased. It's the staircase
Yes.
one. It is so biased on the side of the guy who was convicted of killing his wife. But like I feel like this one wasn't so much so, and it helps that the killer actually like does a full confession.
Yes, that does help. A creepy confession.
Yeah, the most unfeeling, like
Ugh. Pausing at the wrong time.
Monotone.
For questions that would be easy for people that have souls.
Yeah, for people who are capable of empathy. Did we love the reenactments or did we love the reenactments?
2 hours in, I was pretty annoyed with a lot of the reenactments. Just because they were taking up so much time that I was like, I don't need this.
And they had to do that fun stunt driving to keep us in. Especially when we're just talking about papers. There's only there's 3 explosions.
But all my time watching,
them handle sensitive documents with no gloves that are supposed to be 100 years old.
While they're eating lunch.
Well, yeah, while they're eating lunch.
At fancy restaurants, because that's how he rolls.
Mm-hmm. Spare no expense.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. They were pretty much a mess. And they were just trying so hard to be so intense. Like, a lot of the time when they were showing him forging the documents, it was very reminiscent to me of the reenactments of BTK in Mindhunter. And I was like, you're trying too hard. Like, this is over the top.
We still gotta pay that same cinematographer to do this.
Yeah.
He's trying to get his David Fincher rates, and we're like, no.
I would love to know if it was, that would make me so happy. I would be dead.
But I mean, I will say that they're better than old school OG unsolved mysteries.
Oh, see, I kind of love those.
I mean, they are good because they have the actual people in them as often as possible.
It's so good. That's what I want. And just how the people are trying so little with the acting makes me very happy.
There's I think maybe it's a Forensic Files or an Unsolved Mysteries. But it's one of Matthew McConaughey's first roles.
Oh my gosh, I want to see it.
It's amazing. Oh. It's so short, but it's everything you want it to be.
Well, we should watch that entire episode of Unsolved Mysteries just for that and then review that episode. Unsolved Mysteries is a great show.
It might be Forensic Files, so.
That's a great show, too.
Mm-hmm.
I got all the time.
Yeah, I love it. It's a nice, just a little relaxing thing to do, to put on while you're doing something else.
Yep. So what was that category that we were just doing?
Quality of reenactments?
Oh, yeah, reenactments. Yeah, so they were over the top for me. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like there was just too much. There was too much of it to make this documentary long. You could have done this all in one episode. This could have been a one-shot.
Yeah, like a 2-hour doc would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to give us these quote-unquote bite-sized pieces. They ain't bite-sized. Those second 2 episodes were 7 to 58 minutes.
Yeah, we never thought that the second episode was gonna end. We were is it? We were like, we're actually the people in Grave Encounters. It's never gonna be morning. We're never gonna get to sleep.
I know, and I knew it was gonna be bad because in the first episode there was a point where I was like, oh man, if I close my eyes for too long, they're not gonna open again.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking that now.
Same. It's a little bit easier when I'm talking, but when we were sitting here, I was like...
Yes, the more you were fiddling with this microphone, I was like, you better not play this game. It's a dangerous game right now.
So what were our, favorite... Do we have any favorite interview moments? Because I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was this one expert. He was a forensic...
document checker. I don't know. That's what he did.
He's into forensic documents. And
he's into forensic documents. You sound like you're writing his Tinder profile.
His first line in the show is, I'm into forensics because I don't like people. And you're like, can relate.
Well, and I liked it even more because I think the way he worded it was, I'm into forensics so I don't have to deal with people.
Yes.
And I was like, yes. I was like, we see you were
yes, my dude.
He was very funny. I did love that.
He was a cutie pie. He was my favorite in the whole thing.
He was probably the sweetest. I kind of liked the poor little depressing boy who was so sad.
Oh,
I didn't really like him the whole time, but then when he said that, I was like,
Well, what
Poor
if you
little
gotta tell us
guy.
what he said?
Yeah, so it's towards the end of the doc, and he starts talking about, like, what a terrible effect all of this had on him and his whole entire life, and how he basically wished that he had never been born, and how it's kind of like in It's a Wonderful Life, except for there's no redemption at the end.
It was very sad because then he cried.
Yeah, it was upsetting. Like,
And
he
we're
clearly
like-
needs to speak to a psychiatrist.
Yes.
I wonder what the, like, producers, documentarians thought or said after that.
I would be like, I would not be a good documentarian. I'd be like, oh.
I'd get way too involved.
Yes, I would.
Always.
Like, would not be able to be an outside observer. I'd be like, oh, no.
I heard this Jane Goodall thing today, and she was talking about, like, when she went to work with the chimpanzees, and she said that she was like, I went to Africa as a scientist, and I left as an activist, because she, like, wanted to protect them.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of any other crazy, weird parts or anything like that, or?
Well, yeah, okay, so is this our, like, weirdest thing part?
Yeah, we can go to weirdest facts and weirdest thing.
Okay, so for me, the weirdest thing for sure was when he's doing his interview where he's like giving his full confession, talking all through it, and he discusses the second bomb that the man's wife died from. I can't remember her name or his name, but he's like, yeah, I mean, it didn't matter to me if he found it, she found it, a child, and it's like, no one asked you. Like, why are you saying this? Do you want people to have, like, no compassion on you?
I know, honestly, it's like, I mean, did Utah not have the death penalty at the time? Because that phrase
they
alone
did.
could have easily gotten you that.
Yeah.
Especially in Utah? Get out of here.
I wonder if Utah's high with the death penalty. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
It was in the 80s, so no, I mean, that was Florida, but...
Yeah, I mean, the only ones that, like, come to mind right off the bat are Texas and Florida. That, like, I'm instantly like, oh, I know, I would not want to commit a crime there. Where I
Well,
could get the
we
death
just
penalty.
barely got rid of the death penalty, I think.
Well, I mean, and not...
Virginia.
Well, lots of states have it, but
Uh-huh.
barely ever use it.
Yeah.
And then it just depends. There are some states that, like, they use it. Like,
Because I remember it being a
all
big
right.
deal during the DC sniper, because he committed a lot of his crimes in Virginia, and then he got tried here, and it was a big deal because we have the death penalty, or did at the time.
Yeah. The people who will be the victims of things like this and then, like, ask the judge to not consider the death penalty on the
Mhm.
case, just the mercy and grace of those people always blows my mind. And I'm like, that's really incredible that you would do that.
Yeah, Christensen's wife, they showed clips of her being interviewed, I guess sometime shortly after her husband was murdered. She's getting interviewed, and he's asking her, like, would you ever want to, like, meet him or confront him, or, like, did you have anything to say to him? And she's just like, you know, I don't want to meet him. Like, I don't need to do that. I'm past this. Like, I'm not gonna hold it against him. Like, she didn't have the time for that.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Yeah. It was great.
Because I would probably not be.
Yeah.
I would hold that grudge so hard. Forever.
Was there anything, like, weird or, like, shocking that you learned from it?
I mean, I had heard about this case before on, like, podcasts and stuff that I've listened to.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about this case just, from being in the church.
Yeah. Well, I didn't remember that he blew himself up, first of all. And then, second of all, I didn't remember that the second victim who actually died was just some random person he just randomly picked just to, like, try and throw people off his trail. Which is even more upsetting because it's just, like, this poor random person just living their life. And
Yeah, I mean, it was still a business partner of the people, so it wasn't, like, totally random.
it was the wife of Christensen's former employer. Yeah. It's just sad.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't find the idea of that being a suicide attempt believable at all.
Because it was, like, in his car, and, like, all the others he had, like, placed outside of the office or the house or something.
And his car was in, like, a weird place for it.
Yeah.
Also, just the idea that that's how he would try to do it, I don't find believable.
In the interviews that they play of him, like, speaking in the past, he, like, tries to, like, play down his narcissism, like, it doesn't exist. Like, he's like, oh, no, I'm not a genius. They're just bad at their jobs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that great. Like, they're just not that good. Like, maybe that's why.
Which then he starts describing what he did to forge these documents, and you're like, whoa.
No.
Like, what?
Normal people don't do this.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't an interest that normal people, like, have. Like, they're not trying to figure out how to, like, age things so that they look like they came from this time period in this place, so that they have salt water, like, on them, and, like...
But yeah, and I don't think that most people would have figured out a way to oxidize the paper in that way.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I mean, it was genius level thinking.
Yeah.
The unfortunate truth.
Our favorite guy, the forensic document dude,
Mm-hmm.
he had to zoom in so freaking close to, like, a microscopic level to see the flaws in the ink. It was just like, it just had, like, cracks, like alligator skin, or, like, the desert, like, salt flats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what separated it, because from those cracks, they could tell that the oxidation happened too fast.
Well, and you have to keep in mind, too, that at this point, church historians have already authenticated the letter. Then the FBI has already authenticated the letter. And then these guys, who had already been looking into it at this point, spent over 110 hours on it, looking at it, trying to figure it out before they found the fly in the ointment, or whatever. The cracks in the writing.
Yeah, it was crazy how much they had to zoom in. You're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Man, forging must have been a lot easier back in the day.
I think he was just really good at it. And then the fact that he would say that he would do it in just a couple days, I was like, would
wild.
you? Because it seems like it would need time to dry, time for other things.
Oh man, and that one lady who was interviewing him, who the whole time she was talking to him sounded like she had a crush on him. Like, she was so obviously impressed by everything he did.
Creepy.
He started forging. He didn't start collecting and then get into forging. Yeah. He was like, no, this is what I like to do. The, like, actual collecting just happens basically on accident.
Yeah, like, incidentally.
Yeah. Like, sometimes I just happen to trade my forgeries for real ones.
Yeah, and then trade the real ones back again and, like, sell the real ones. I feel bad for his wife, too, in the sense that it's like, with his first forgery to the church, he said to her, like, oh, I made this, blah, blah, blah. But then it started backtracking basically instantly. I was like, no, I'm just kidding. And I just, like, feel for her so bad, because I would probably think he was just, like, when he said he was just kidding, I'd be like, oh, yeah, like, you must be, I guess.
Yeah. This is also another case, kids. If you have a partner and you two live together and there's a room you're not allowed in, get out of there.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Leave and call the cops. Something illegal is going down in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Something you don't want to be a part of. It's just a big no. Red flag of all red flags.
Yeah, it's not good. Nothing good's going on there.
Mm-mm.
Whatever reasonable reason they supposedly have for having it, no, it's a lie.
So Nadine, what would you rate this lovely documentary?
I don't know. Maybe 3.3 crazy eyes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5 pairs of crazy eyes, because I don't know, some documentaries are like, what? And this one was just like, oh, interesting.
Which part of that is because we already know the story.
Very true. Also, I'm very tired, so my rating is not as good as it might have been had I been well rested watching this.
Yeah, but there was something about it that wasn't, like, exciting exactly.
Yeah, I know. And I'm thinking back to another Netflix documentary, Evil Genius, where it's like, what? Like, that one was wild. The murder is, like, captured on footage and they show it in it.
Oh, was that the pizza delivery guy? So depressing.
It's crazy. That one was wild. And then, like, Abducted in Plain Sight, that one.
Oh.
Whoa.
I never watched that one, but very depressing also.
Yeah, that one had so many twists and turns. It blew me away.
Good twist is always fun. Or not fun, but interesting.
Those are the kind of documentaries I like. It's like when it has that jaw drop moment where you're like, what? Stop it. No. This one would have had it if he had blown himself up on accident. I would have been so happy. I might have given it a better rating.
I can't believe that he was trying to put out hits on the other people.
Oh
while he
my
was in
gosh,
jail,
yeah.
Just because they wouldn't pardon him. Bruh, you were never gonna get pardoned.
No, did you not listen to that interview? Your confession? Like, get out. All right, well, wish we hadn't done this so late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Super tired. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We will see you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 104 days until Halloween. Bye.
Bye. Oh gosh.
Oh man. This is gonna be so fun to edit.
I've never been tired in my life. Who's editing this one?
I really hope it's not me. I'm gonna cut it.
Same. I almost don't want to know.
No, it's not no. Let's
Yeah,
just
it's for the best, because if I know and it's me, then the whole time I'm gonna be like, focus.
um
I'm sorry, your eyes were closed for so
I'm
long.
thinking.
I was like, she's asleep. She's sleeping and talking.
Is asking her, like, you know, would you want to Nadine, I'm gonna need you to focus right now. You need to stop. Well, that concludes that.
You know that we have to rate it, right?
Yep. What are we rating it out of?
What were the things that we saw as options before? Tragic, historical photos was one of them, but what was the other one?
Was it Crazy Eyes? Was it Should Be Talking Amphibians?
Oh yeah, that was random that I didn't know until we watched this that he considered doing a toad but wanted to spice it up.
Yeah. Toad, that's played out. Everyone has a talking toad.
My knives. Misspent missions. Man, there was like one thing though that we said while we were watching it and I just can't remember what it was.
Bye.
Bye.
What the?
I just thought it would be funny for some reason.